In one of the most shocking investigations in United States history, justice was finally served. Jeffrey Dahmer, the infamous Milwaukee cannibal, was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms in February 1992. The families of the victims felt some relief, knowing that Dahmer would spend the rest of his life in prison. Only 2 years after his imprisonment, on the morning of November 28, 1994, Dahmer entered the prison's cleaning area alongside two other inmates to perform their cleaning duties. However, Dahmer and one of the other inmates would not leave that place alive. But what really happened? And who was the third inmate who left undetected? Background of Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was convicted of 15 counts of first-degree murder, with a sentence of more than 900 years in prison. His first victim was Stephen Hicks, a 19-year-old young man whom Dahmer picked up while hitchhiking on the way to a concert. He invited him to his house for drinks, but when Hicks wanted to leave, Dahmer went. Dahmer attacked him with a 10-pound weight, strangled him, and dismembered his body. The next day, after killing Stephen Hicks, Dahmer continued committing horrible crimes. Between 1987 and 1991, he murdered 16 more people. You'll understand the same pattern: strangulation, dismemberment, and decapitation. Dahmer also practiced cannibalism, which earned him the nickname the Milwaukee Cannibal. The arrest and trial of Dahmer's arrest happened when one of his future victims, Tracy Edwards, managed to escape. Edwards alerted the police, who entered Dahmer's apartment and discovered the chilling scenes: photographs of dismembered bodies, decapitated heads in the freezer, and torsos dissolved in acid. On February 17, 1992, Dahmer was sentenced to 15 consecutive life sentences. Jeffrey Dahmer's life in prison. The horror of Dahmer's crimes earned him many enemies in prison, so initially he was placed in isolation. However, a year later, Dahmer requested to be transferred to a unit for inmates with emotional issues, where he began interacting with other prisoners and attending classes. He even got baptized in May of 1994 in an attempt to redeem himself spiritually. However, not everyone believed in his repentance. Dahmer had the habit of making macabre jokes about his crimes, shaping his food to look like parts of dismembered bodies, and covering it with ketchup, which deeply disgusted other inmates. The murder of Jeffrey Dahmer. One of those inmates was Christopher Scarver, a man serving a life sentence for murder. Scarver had a deep resentment towards Dahmer, not only for his atrocious crimes, but also for his behavior in prison. It is said that Dahmer not only provoked other inmates with his macabre jokes, but some inmates had already tried to attack him before. Scarver, who already had a history of violence, finally took matters into his own hands on November 28, 1994. While Dahmer, Scarver, and another inmate, Jesse Anderson, were cleaning the gym bathrooms, Scarver decided to act. He grabbed the metal bar from exercise equipment and brutally attacked Dahmer in the locker room, bringing him to the brink of death. Not satisfied with this, Scarver also fatally struck Jesse Anderson. Dahmer died on the way to the hospital, while Anderson passed away 2 days. I know within to see him afterwards the reasons behind the attack. When asked why he did it, Scarver claimed that he was the chosen one and that it had been his duty to kill Dahmer. Additionally, he suggested that the guards knew about his hatred towards Dahmer and had deliberately put him in that situation. Dahmer died after only 3 years in prison, ending one of the darkest chapters in the criminal history of the United States. The legacy of Scarver and their reactions. Dahmer's death generated mixed reactions in society. While some condemned Scarver for committing another murder, many people, including some families of Dahmer's victims, sent him letters of gratitude. Despite this, Scarver was sentenced to 2 additional life sentences for the murder of Dahmer and Anderson. Today, Scarver remains imprisoned and has devoted himself to writing, publishing poetry, and short stories from prison. And so we come to the end of this story. If you want to see more content like this, click on any of the other videos that will appear on the screen. See you in the next one.